Hi guys, welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. My name is Sarah. If you are looking for home-style recipes made ketogenic, then you've come to the right channel. Tonight I am going to be making the second in a series of summer air fryer recipes for the hot months. Last week I did mozzarella stuffed meatballs, and this week I am going to do garlic Parmesan chicken skewers. I have seen this recipe everywhere. In fact, both of my sisters have sent it to me separately on Instagram. It's sweeping the internet. It's very popular and I'm excited to try it. And it's super easy and you're going to love it. Let me show you what you're going to need. So you are going to want to preheat your air fryer as your first step. Usually it takes about 5 minutes. Mine preheats at 400 degrees, and that is also the temperature that we are going to be cooking our chicken skewers on tonight. So the recipe tonight only has a few ingredients, and of course you could use a different type of meat instead of chicken if you didn't want to use chicken, but I'm going to be using chicken tonight, and I'm using chicken thighs. I have 1.5 pounds here that I have cut up into about 1.5 to 2 inch little sections that I'm going to feed onto my skewer. You're going to need 1/2 cup of soft butter. So mine is soft, not melted, because it is going to stick to our chicken a little bit better when we add our seasonings into it. I'm going to be using just a drizzle of avocado oil on my chicken to hold my original seasonings. So to begin on the chicken, I am going to be using some Kinder's seasoning. You could use any kind of herbal garlic seasoning. This one is garlic, sea salt, and butter. But if you don't have this one, that's no problem. You can use any kind of garlic seasoning, but this is what I'm going to be used to be coating our chicken initially. Now for our butter sauce, I'm going to be using some different herbs. So I'm going to use my Johnny's garlic spread, and I'm also going to be using some 21 seasoning salute. But once again, use whatever garlic seasoning that you have on hand or that your family enjoys. I'm also going to be using about 3 cloves of minced garlic. Mine is already minced here, and I'm just going to be using about 2 teaspoons or so of that to replicate that amount of garlic. But you do want a chunkier garlic if you have access to that, because it's going to coat our skewers a little bit better. I'm also going to be using about 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. So that is the very fine kind that you get in a jar like I just showed you, not the shredded kind that you would get in the refrigerated section, but you want kind of the powdery kind because it's going to stick to our chicken meat a little bit more thoroughly. The last ingredient is some chopped Italian parsley. You could use curly if you wanted to, but I'm using Italian tonight and I have chopped it very, very finely. So this is about 1/3 cup. I'm doing meat surgery. I'm skewering. So I'm going to be using food gloves for this, and the reason behind this is not necessarily cleanliness. Of course you are working with raw meat, so that isn't a factor, but this is of course my own kitchen. But I want to kind of massage the seasoning into the meat, and so that's why I'm going to be using gloved hands for this. So the first thing I'm going to do with my cut up pieces of chicken is I am going to drizzle a little bit of avocado oil on them, and this is just going to help our seasoning adhere a little bit better to our chicken. So I'm just going to kind of coat my chunks. Okay. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and use the Kinder. Once again, you could use any kind of garlic herbal seasoning that you would like for this. And I'm going to be fairly liberal, even though we are going to be putting our Parmesan garlic sauce onto our chicken after. So now I'm going to go ahead and mush this around. Now my seasoning blend already has salt in it. So I'm not going to salt this additionally. And I really want to get it in there and get everything thoroughly coated. All right, now I'm going to let that hang out while we talk about our skewers. So I'm going to be using bamboo skewers tonight, and I have cut mine to fit my air fryer. So I measured the basket of my air fryer and I cut these skewers to fit. As you can see that they're also, it's in water, it's wet. And that is because you are gonna wanna soak your bamboo skewers so they don't catch fire. You would do this if you were grilling them also outside. And so I have let mine soak for at least 30 minutes, and that's going to prevent them from having any problems in your air fryer. So I'm gonna bring those over and we're gonna start loading the meat on. Okay, so I'm just going to take my skewer and I'm going to start loading my chunks of chicken thigh on, and I'm going to probably put about 6 or 7 chunks on each skewer. And I'm just going to slide it down to make room. Of course, you know, do it more than once depending on the shape of your chicken thigh, if you feel like he needs a little bit more structure. Okay, and I'm going to do about 1 more chunk of meat, and then this one is done. Okay, he's all ready and seasoned, as you can see. I'm going to continue doing the rest of my skewers, and then I will show you what they look like when we come back. So here are my loaded skewers, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting them in the basket of my air fryer. These are going to cook at 400 degrees for about 8 minutes. Okay, and they're gonna go, like I said, for 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start making the butter sauce, which is going to coat our garlic Parmesan chicken skewers. You saw that we already seasoned them. This is going to add additional flavor and fat. So we are going to start with our softened butter. I'm going to put in my 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I'm going to put in my minced garlic. And I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of the minced, which is approximately 4 cloves. I'm going to add some of my Johnnies. I'm an aggressive seasoner. You can, of course, use however much seasoning you would like. I'm also going to add a little bit of 21 seasoning salute. Finally, I'm going to put my fresh parsley in. Going to mix all of that around into our butter. Okay, just get everything thoroughly mixed. And this will be ready to put onto our skewers after they have had their first cooking time. We're already getting golden. Okay, so I'm gonna flip these bad boys over, and then we're gonna put our delicious compound butter on there. Be very careful because your air fryer is hot. Alright. Okay. So now we are going to put the garlic Parmesan butter that we created with our butter, our garlic, and our herbs, and we're gonna brush it on there. Okay. Now we're gonna let this cook for about 7 more minutes. And then we'll take them out and do a final brushing. Now don't get garlic parmesan on the microphone. All right, back in they go. 7 minutes. Okay, they're getting ready to be done. Oh boy, look at those beauties. I am going to serve ours with some sauteed zucchini. Now I am going to flip these guys over and put just a little bit more of our butter sauce on so they are coated on both sides. And then CJ is going to taste them for us. All right, so there they are. Garlic Parmesan chicken skewers. Okay, here they are. The garlic Parmesan chicken skewers, and we are serving ours tonight with some sauteed zucchini. So we're gonna have a taste test.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, let's get to it. I'm hungry.
Okay.
That's not the...
You can have some of that delicious sauteed zucchini.
All right. That's real good. It's kind of hot, temperature-wise.
Yes.
But really flavorful. I think I'd like more butter sauce on it.
Okay.
But other than that, I think it's great.
Awesome.
And I know it was easy to make because I was here filming it.
Yes.
So, yeah. Good job, baby.
All right. Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.